I will say, just because you mentioned Burnley quickly, that not related to the Man United game, I will get straight back onto it, but it's something I forgot to say earlier. I've seen a lot of media comparison about Saints being Burnley. So Southampton are just totally different. That is one of the laziest assumptions and the laziest connections I've seen. Oh, Saints are just Burnley. Russell Martin's the same as Company. They're trying to keep the ball. They're arrogantly trying to play it at the back, and they're going to go down. Totally different. Totally different scenarios.
They had a massive turnover of players, Burnley. Huge turnover of players. And also, actually, watching that documentary, he seems a commendable guy. But his man management skills, from what you see in its glimpses, I think Russell Martin's an outstanding man manager. When it comes to man managers, he's the best. I don't think Vincent Kompany was that at all.
Not at all. I think what people forget, and it's said by many a player, whether it's Rooney said it, Henry said it, who else has said it? Another big name player. Shearer was the other one I heard. All three of them have said, when you transition from being a coach to a manager and you tell your players to do things that you could do and they don't do it, it's a mind-blowing scenario. So you think about Vincent Kompany was a magnificent footballer, one of the greatest centre-backs in the Premier League ever. Like he's in the conversation. He's fantastic. He was a leader of a team that won the Premier League. I think he personally won it. Was it 3 times or 4 times?
I think it was 3
whatever
or 4
it was.
times
So he, as a captain, trusted by arguably the greatest manager of all time, come up with some of the biggest moments you could imagine, with that winning goal against Leicester from 30 odd yards. Like Kompany was an unbelievable footballer, and he led a group of unbelievable footballers. You're talking Aguero, David Silva, Fernandinho, like these players who we regard as like some of the best to do it in the Premier League. He was the man that they looked to. So he comes from a totally different background. He expects so much of certain individuals in that side. Like you saw it in the clips, like him absolutely berating people for their body language and not doing certain things. And it's like, he's so in his head because that was how his life was. That's how but Martin's from a totally different background, completely different. You know, he played for Norwich and Rangers and MK Dons, and like he had a much better career than most people, you know what I mean? But like he did in terms of football, he hasn't had a career that Vincent Kompany's had. He wouldn't go into it expecting that his team have to play like he did or like the teams he played in. He gives them a layout of he always says it, how I would have loved to have played, how I would have loved to have been managed. Like, but Kompany's coming at it from a point of how I did play and how we were managed. But he doesn't quite, or he didn't. He might have learned now, but Kompany couldn't get his head around the fact that, especially last season, that these players are not the City team that you played with. These players are not of a standard that you think they are. They're not. And you need to take that into account. And you could see that he was losing his mind. And a lot of players say it. And if you probably asked him, he probably realised by now that, he probably did hold them to a slightly unrealistic standard because of what he did in his career. It happens. So it's a totally different dynamic, and it's a totally lazy argument. That's one that you shouldn't listen to. We are not the next Burnley. It's totally different. And if we do go down, I can tell you now, Russell Martin will not be swanning off to go and manage Real Madrid. It just won't happen. Relax. It won't happen. It's a totally different situation. Anyway, again, sorry, rant over.